Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome to the Goal Line Hockey Podcast, episode 9. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all of you out there in the Goal Line hockey world, in the hockey world in general. We have some very, very exciting news in today's podcast, a much more uplifting podcast than the past couple of episodes. Episode 9, baby. The 2021 NHL schedule has been released. We're going to be looking at some of the top matchups going into this season. Some news out of Tampa Bay on a much less positive note, but it does affect the outlook for the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're going to be taking a look at that. Helmet ads are made official, as we've got a couple of teams who have already announced their partnerships, and we are going to see some helmet ads on the NHL helmets this year. We're going to be taking a look at that as well as answering your guys' questions from the YouTube comment section as well. So stay tuned for that. Episode 9, baby. Let's get this thing going. And welcome to the Goal Line Hockey Podcast. All right, so we're going to start things off with a 1K, race to 1K update. We are up to 760. Wow, I lost a subscriber. So whoever just did that, you're an asshole. But 763 YouTube subscribers. So the road to 1K is official. The channel's not been doing as great recently, but I'm going to talk about some things here in the next podcast for next week for New Year's, how I plan on changing my strategy going into the new year. It's going to be a little bit interesting here at Goal Line Hockey. We're going to have some changes, but obviously change is good because you don't grow if you don't change a little bit. And you know anything about this channel since I started, there has been a lot of change, and I'll be talking about that a little bit more with you guys next week, so just as a quick teaser. But anyway, guys, we're going to get right into things. The NHL season is official. January 13th will be the start date, a 56-game NHL season. Now, looking at the top matchups going into next season, we are going to see a lot of rivalry action going on in this new schedule. Some of the big ones. January 13th, down in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Chicago Blackhawks. January 13th will be the banner raising ceremony of the 2020 Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. So congratulations to the Lightning. A little bit overdue. Normally this would be done last fall, but they were just raising the Stanley Cup at that time. So pretty exciting news. Congratulations to Tampa Bay. And they've had all this time off to enjoy that time, or maybe getting ready for this season as well. Probably a little bit of both, but kind of tough for Chicago as they seem to be in the downspin of their NHL situation with their dynasty team. So it's going to be quite interesting to see that. The New York Islanders start off their season in MSG, January 14th, taking on the New York Rangers. The Islanders and the Rangers will be playing each other 8 times in the 2021 NHL schedule. Pretty exciting there. And the Battle of Alberta is going to heat up even more than it has over the past couple of seasons. The Alberta rivalry will be absolutely maxed out this year, as 10 matchups between the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames are scheduled for this season. Now, obviously, because there are only 7 teams in Canada, in the NHL up there in Canada, they're going to play each other more than 8. They're not going to play each team more than 8 times like the rest of the teams in the south of the border in the United States, where they each play each other 8 times. They play each other 10 times in the Canada division, which may be a good thing or a bad thing. But the Battle of Alberta, 10 times next season. We're going to see a little bit more Kachuk and Luch and all that going on. It's going to be pretty exciting going into next season. So those are some of the big things to keep in mind. Now, moving on to Tampa Bay. We've got some, I guess you could say, good news or bad news, depending on how you look at it. If you're a fan of Nikita Kucherov playing next season, maybe not such good news. But if you're a fan of them trying to bring in the young Anthony Cirelli, who has been absolutely tearing it up for the Tampa Bay Lightning, maybe this is good news. So the Tampa Bay Lightning currently have the projected cap hit, the highest in the NHL, at over $87 million used. And when the cap hit is supposed to be like 85, they're a little bit over. But that is because they have some guys on the long-term injured reserve. One of them being Nikita Kucherov, who is out for the season. He's going to have surgery over the next couple of weeks, hip surgery. He is going to be out for the entire regular season for the 2021 NHL season. $9.5 million have all of a sudden been freed up for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we saw earlier this week when they re-signed defenseman Erik Chernak. They signed him to a 3-year contract, $2.95 million per season. A good contract for Chernak. I honestly thought he was going to maybe make a little bit more than that, but we remember it's Julian Brisebois and the Tampa Bay Lightning, so that just seems to make sense. They also signed Matthew Joseph and Alexander Volkov to 1-year small AHL deals, so good there by the Lightning. Now, some other little moves that we've seen. Michael Frolik comes to the Montreal Canadiens on a cheap $750K deal. Connor Sheary going down to Washington. He's left the Pittsburgh Penguins and is now, in a season he really struggled with the Buffalo Sabres. Now he gets another shot down in Washington. So we're going to see more more Pittsburgh Penguin players going down to Washington. Justin Schultz is now a part of the Washington Capitals. Connor Sheary, now a part of the Washington Capitals. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. In other news, the New Jersey Devils re-signed Mackenzie Blackwood to a contract. Pretty exciting news there, as he is going to be their next potential starter. They signed him to a bridge deal, a 3-year, $8.4 million contract, $2.8 million per season for Mackenzie Blackwood. It's a 3-year deal. He signed this on December 23rd, today. And he is still fairly young. He's 24 years old. And he is going to get an opportunity here with the Devils to eventually become the starter. So very good news there for the New Jersey Devils. Now we have some Minnesota natives from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. 22-year-old former first-round pick Casey Mittelstadt, a former Minnesota Golden Gopher, signing a 1-year contract with the Buffalo Sabres. He's really struggled in his time with the Sabres. He's going to get a restart this season with the Sabres and a potentially better roster. This is a good opportunity for Casey Mittelstadt. He's going to have some competition now, though. Obviously, with some pretty talented players coming in, guys like Dylan Cousins, Eric Stahl taking over some of those center spots that would potentially go to Casey Mittelstadt. He's going to have to make it this year in the NHL. He may have to start the season in Rochester with the Rochester Americans of the American Hockey League. But if he can prove his worth down there, make his way into the NHL, at the very least raise his trade market value and potentially get traded at the 2021 NHL trade deadline. Eric Howla and Mikael Granlund each signed with the Nashville Predators. The Senators with the... What am I doing? The Nashville Predators, not the Ottawa Senators. Apologies for that. Mikael Granlund signs a 1-year, $3.75 million contract with the Preds. He's been with the Predators organization before, most recently with the Nashville Predators. Spent some time with the Minnesota Wild, obviously a big part of the Kevin Fiala trade, where we saw the Nashville Predators trade Kevin Fiala from the Minnesota Wild for Mikael Granlund. Granlund's only 28 years old, one of the top players that was left on the free agent market. Let's still remember, though, guys, Mike Hoffman is still available at this point. As well as Eric Howla, who was most recently with the Vegas Golden Knights, got traded to the Carolina Hurricanes to free up some cap space. Things didn't work out so well for him. He's still fairly young. At 29 years old, he's at his prime in his NHL career. And at $1.75 million, the two Finnish centers now are a part of the Nashville Predators organization. So good job by David Poile bringing in some center depth for that Nashville Predators team. And then the other big thing, I don't know if this is good news. For some of you, it's good news. Maybe it's bad news, as the NHL has announced that we are going to see helmet ads for this season only for now. The NHL is allowing helmet ads for their teams, as the Nashville Predators, the New Jersey Devils, and the Washington Capitals have already unveiled theirs. The New Jersey Devils will have a partnership with the Prudential Banking, as they will have a Prudential logo on the helmet of the New Jersey Devils. They are also the sponsor of the Prudential Center, which is the Rock there in Newark, New Jersey. So it seems like a perfect matchup in that regard, as well as Capital One Bank, who is also going to be the sponsor of the Washington Capitals helmet design. Let's also remember it is the Capital One Arena, home of the Washington Capitals. So Don't be surprised if Nashville is going with the Bridgeport route, as we are Bridgestone. Yeah, so here we go. Of course, the teams are in a big hole. So they are looking for valuable, real valuable, tangible assets that will help us guys like me make partners whole. And it needed to be valuable. It needed to be dynamic. So Bridgestone will be the sponsor of the Nashville Predators. No surprise there, as they play in the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. So there we go. Don't be surprised if we see some of those teams go in that direction. We do not see jersey ads quite yet. I hate to say it though, guys, that is the next direction. Give it some time. Let people get used to the fact that we're going to see some, helmet decals. And as time goes on, people are going to be more okay with this. Unfortunately, it's not a good thing. I think this is just the beginning. And obviously, it's a good excuse because of COVID and everything that's been going on with the bug. But this is just an excuse. They were going to do this anyway. Now is just the perfect time for them to implement it. So, maybe good news for some of you, bad news for others. I think it's just the beginning, though, of what we're going to see. So with that out of the way, guys, let's answer some of the YouTube comments. So we're going to start things off with a quick drink. Quick break there. All right. Let's take a look. Andrew Poole. Best wishes to Team USA to win the 2021 gold medal. Thanks for the informative video. Absolutely, Andrew Poole. And you also had another comment. Hope you get thousands more subscribers. Great content. Thanks. That's my buddy Andrew Poole. He knows the vibe. Dave S., the Blues fan, as Alexander Steen retired, he commented, Steiner was always my favorite player. He was/is awesome in the St. Louis community as well. I wish him the best of health and congrats on the new baby boy. So congratulations, Steiner. I hope he stays part of the St. Louis community. We sure could use stand-up guys like him. Thanks for the memory, Steiner. You holding the cup is up on my office wall. Let's go Blues. Derek Enstom, on one of my videos talking about the scouting report on Finland, where I talked about Filip Zadina. Zadina could be one of the prospects that literally propels the Wings out of the rebuild. With Cedar and Raymond potentially all starting together in the fall of 2021 would make Detroit look completely different with talent level. Hope he dominates if he plays, and he will be coming to North America this season. He may start the season in Grand Rapids with the Griffins, but expect a really strong campaign from Filip Zadina. He's still looking to prove those 8 other teams that decided not to draft him wrong. Let's see what Filip Zadina does this season. Let's take a look. Justin Van Kirk. He could be a steal for Florida big time. And that's talking about the 2021 11th overall draft pick, Anton Lundell. He has been playing very well in the HIFK right now in Liga, and he is tearing it up. Potentially the next Alexander Barkov, which I mentioned in my scouting report before the 2020 NHL draft. And who better to draft the next Alexander Barkov than the Florida Panthers, who have Alexander Barkov. So the Florida Panthers need some center depth. It seems like Anton Lundell is poised to make that starting roster this season. So Anton Lundell, very confident in his ability. Let's see what he does for the Florida Panthers in training camp, and if he makes that roster there with Coach Quenneville. So thank you, Justin Van Kirk. You're always commenting. I do appreciate that. Nice jersey. Go Bolts. That's from Danny Light 3. And guys, this is a plug. Thank you, Ali Desh. You just gave me a perfect plug. Ali Desh. Hashtag yo. All right, got to get the yo in there. Ali Desh. Kevin, if you don't get a new camera for Christmas, I'm going to start a GoFundMe page. You got Patreon. I do. If you look in the link down below, you're going to look at the bio for this video, the description, and below that you're going to find, I believe, my Instagram and Twitter handles, as well as my Patreon. Now, this is something that I want to mention, guys. If you don't want to give money, I completely understand. Just you watching these videos and commenting and liking and subscribing and talking about this with your friends is more than enough for me right there. But if you want to go above and beyond and want to start to invest in this channel, I do have a Patreon, and that is in the description down below. So thank you, Ali Desh. Yes, I do have it. And I do have to mention about this camera situation because I've been getting a lot more comments on that recently. I do have a camera, guys. I do already have a camera. The issue is the editing process becomes a lot more difficult with this new camera. I do have the Canon G7X Series 5 or whatever the heck it is. It is an expensive camera. The only issue is editing is much more difficult than just using my Mac, which I use for my videos right now. So it's something that I do want to work on. It's something that I've been looking at. It's just figuring out all the little details, and that is part of my plan. We're going to talk about that a little more in my next podcast next week. Episode 10, going into the new year. A lot of things are going to be changing at Goal Line Hockey. I'm very poised and excited for our run here at getting to 1K subscribers here on the YouTube channel, as well as growing our Instagram and Twitter as well. So guys, a lot of plugging going on right there, but Ali Dash mentioned it, so it's not my fault. So guys, that is it for Goal Line Hockey Podcast Episode 9. It's a little bit shorter, but we have some exciting news. The NHL schedule has been released. We're going to have some helmet ads, which is a little bit sad. Tampa Bay can now re-sign Anthony Cirelli, as Nikita Kucherov will be off the roster. But the good news is we've survived the year 2020, and we're going to have another podcast next week. I'll talk about all this stuff a little more with you guys. But guys, before we wrap things up, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thank you for watching once again. This is the end of the Goal Line Hockey Podcast Episode 9, Christmas Eve edition. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.